Living in New Zealand, we don't have a lot of super famous musicians. And those that we all know here, they always live overseas and they seem like mysterious creatures. But growing up in England, and for me, particularly in the south of England, they're not mysterious creatures. They're the people you see quite often floating around town. It could be Ringo Starr, Paul McCartney, all sorts of different people. One time, Julie and I were visiting the UK. We were staying in an Airbnb. She was working at home that day and I popped out for the day. When I came back, she'd made a recording and she said, there's this bloke next door. He's singing at the top of his voice and he's been doing it all day long. I said, oh, okay, so who's that then? He said, I don't know, singing away. So she played the recording. And I recognised it straight away. It was Eric Clapton. He was warming up his vocals on his back deck, ready for a big concert that evening at the Royal Albert Hall. And to me, that was hilarious. It's quite normal. But for Jules, coming from New Zealand, it's like, oh, wow, 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 wow. Well, you know, I just thought it was funny. And it reminded me that the last drummer I'd worked with in the UK, he'd been Eric Clapton's gardener. And he wasn't like, oh, I'm Eric Clapton's gardener, it's so scary. He was more concerned that it sometimes took a bit of effort to get paid for his hard day's work. It's just hilarious. Another time I did a gig with that same band with a different drummer, and we were playing, I think, a village hall in Loxwood. And our drummer was paralytic with nerves. He couldn't get through the gig because in this particular little village hall, Phil Collins, Genesis drummer, would often pop in on a Saturday night for a beer. And he was absolutely paranoid that Phil would come in and judge his drumming. But these silly stories, they're just hilarious. And there's so many of them. You go to concerts in London, particularly in the punk era, you'd be hanging out at the back of a gig. And I remember one time going to the Ramones and I'm hanging out at the bar at the back. And Lemmy came along from Motorhead and just chatting away ordinarily, nothing special. I remember having a pottle of chips and he was eating my chips and I'm about 18, haven't got much money and I'm starving, thinking, are there going to be any chips left? Because I'm quite hungry here and I don't know if I can afford another pottle. None of it's name dropping. It's just ordinary. It's just how it is. There was another time I was out with some folks and bumped into Queen's drummer in the high street at some Christmas festival. And I didn't recognise him. I wasn't particularly paying any attention to have a conversation. It was only later. I said, you didn't know who that was? No? It's like, oh, okay. So, yeah, there you go.